Hey there, PJ here. Welcome back to another episode of Unboxing Spider Farmer. Today, they're sending us their 4-inch ventilation kit, or rather, they've already sent it. I choose to have my things delivered in Amazon packaging, even though Spider Farmer is so discreet, just so that I know that no one else is minding my business. It makes me feel better about myself. As always with Amazon, we have the classic box within a box. Let's see if I can get this. There you go. And that beautiful Amazon smile. They do package it nicely, extra paper and such. Sometimes it's those little airbags or whatever, but this is boxes in a box, so the paper did fine. As you can see, Spider Farmer's packaging is pretty legit. It doesn't have anything that says Grow 10 or Grow Gear on it, which is awesome. It does have a fragile sticker, and all these ends here seem to be shipping cornered and book taped, if you guys know what that is, with the folded corners around, like when you used to tape up your old school books with newspaper and those little brown paper bags. I guess my mom was a little old school. There you go, the ventilation tubing. Yes, they're from China, but their products are quality, so those little twisty thingies there keep the ventilation on the unit. There you go, that's the carbon filter. Everything is packaged separately. You can see they pick them and then pack them together, and it is packed nicely in here. I didn't see any way for the tubing to get crushed, which is awesome. And the ventilation unit is packaged separately as well, which is what we're getting to now. Again, even these inner boxes have those nice bookend corners, shipping corners, whatever you want to call them. These boxes certainly aren't going to open in transport, and there's styrofoam to keep everything cushioned, cardboard. Looking at some instructions here real quick just to see what they got. Everything's basic. Nothing unique. I mean, of course, there's Spider Farming branding on it, but everything is pretty standard for the 4-inch ventilation kits. This kit in particular was recommended for this size unit. And when I say unit, I mean grow tent. Those are some screws, wall anchors, should you decide to put it in your home or use it for anything not grow related. You can also ventilate your attics, tight spaces, closets, bathrooms, whatever you need with this equipment. It's pretty versatile. Sturdy construction, black and orange is my favorite color combination actually, so they certainly please me on that. The controller is separate from the unit, but you just plug it right in. Everything is very plug and play here, very simple. I'm just gonna untie this extra little control there. It's patch approved, as you guys can see. He's always involved in my equipment setup. So the 4-inch carbon filter has a little slip jacket, little slip filter, dust cover, however you call it. I use them sometimes. I don't use them all the time, but the one I did use on my VivoSun unit actually got pretty gnarly, so either I'm gonna slip it inside this filter or we'll put it on at a later time. I don't think I'm gonna put it on for setup purposes, but we'll see. This is a pretty snug fit. I actually kind of like that. It means that I'm not going to have to duct tape this up. Although the duct tape does give a really good seal on some of these units, I hate the cleanup and I hate the residue it leaves behind. Eventually it cracks, dries, and makes this pretty difficult to get together eventually. This stuff is pretty standard, you can get it anywhere, but thankfully it comes in the kit. I'm just going to slide the first few rings over it, get a nice little solid base, and then slide the buckle up over it, and then I'll go ahead and twist it down. Clamp, it's not really a buckle, excuse me. We do have to twist these things on here with a screwdriver. Some assembly required, although it is pretty much plug and play once these two separate pieces are attached here. Usually I will put a little bit of duct tape, not necessarily to hold the vent and the tubing together, but just more so to brace the tubing itself from the clamp so that it doesn't rip through. But this is actually pretty solid tubing, so I'm not too worried about that. They give you quite a bit of this, and I would cut it down if I wasn't into reusing and repurposing. So for now, we're just going to use what we need of it, and I'm going to leave it all intact. And then hopefully if I ever need it for a larger tent or a different unit, we can go ahead and repurpose at least the tubing part. Sorry guys, he thought that was his leash for some reason, but no, we're not going for a walk just yet. Just so everyone knows, this is the first time I'm actually using these straps. And, whoa. Don't really like the way the weight is distributed when held on the ventilation itself, so probably not going to keep it that way. So if you guys can see, I know it's a little dark in there, I'll turn the lights on in there in a second. I have that second strap on the end of the carbon filter, and that first one all the way on the end of the ventilation, and that gave me an even hold. I did end up needing 2 people to do this. The lovely wife helped me install it, and I'm glad she was here because I would have been very frustrated myself and probably would have ended up breaking the light hanging below the vent or separating the vent from the carbon filter and having to start all over. I'm just trying to see if there's a way I can attach the control without penetrating the tent here. My original idea was a safety pin, but then I thought better of it if I ever want to use this tent for photo periods. We're gonna put some autos in here for our Spider Farmer series, but we'll see how it goes. Either way, it wedges actually between the lining and the sign pretty well, so it may stay there. May not. It doesn't. We're gonna put it back up on the top actually. It keeps falling off from right there, but let's take a look at how we have this set up. So there's a better view of the way I have the strap set up. One is towards the end of the vent and one is towards the end of the charcoal filter. The filter is a lot heavier than the vent, so you definitely need to balance that out. Definitely thankful I had 2 people to do this. And I have the ventilation just right out the adjacent hole and then flopped over the top of the tent. That should be fine. It's actually always pretty cool down here, sometimes too cool, so let's take a look up at the top, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at the full tent. I'm just quickly making sure that everything behind here with the plug is good, that I can get all the plugs in safely. I don't like when they press up against the tent, or if they're pulling too hard on any of the equipment. That's always a recipe for disaster. So always make sure your electric is running right. So now I have the vent. I know you guys can't hear it. It's actually, sorry to say guys, louder than the Vivo Sun 4-inch ventilation setup that I have. It kind of has a little whir to it. I'm hoping that speaks to the power of the fan. The temperature seems to be pretty good in here. It doesn't seem to be varying too much from the outside, aside from the fact that I have the tent door open. The light does generate some heat in there, but I don't really feel too much going on like when I put my hand above the light and between the vent. I do feel some suction, some air movement. That's a plus. I'm going to close the tent and see if we get any visual suction on this tent. You do with the Vipar Spectra setup, the Vipar Spectra tent and the Vivo Sun ventilation, which I do like to see. I like to see the pressure deficit in there. I'm not going to say the word vapor because I don't use any of those calculations at all, but there is a pressure deficit in the tent that is visible in the Vipar Spectra setup. I don't quite see one happening with this spider farmer. Let's see if we seal this up, if this helps at all. These little square patches are kind of folded and kind of make it hard to keep a tight seal on the Velcro, but I don't know. Either way, for this setup, I'm leaving this hole open as passive intake, so we'll see how it goes. It's not going to really make too much difference for this setup, but it'll be interesting for me to play around with and see what I can get out of it. Alright, so let's leave this at a normal setting, nothing too high. Open her up and give you one last look, guys. So we do have a singular tie over here, no clamp, no nothing, just a little self tie. It does its job, it holds the thing right out of the way, and I'm really excited to get this going, guys. I do recommend you stop by the Spider Farmer website and take a quick look. So until the next box, guys, thanks for watching. Your support is always appreciated and absolutely reciprocated now that we're back online, and happy to see you guys. Stay medicated, meditated, and educated.